Well, since the last Farnborough International Air Show, the geopolitical situation seems to have changed somewhat with the conflicts around the world. To give us a bit of an update on what's going on with aerospace and defence, I'm delighted to have Nick Compton from EY here. First of all, Nick, thanks for joining me. Can you give us a bit of an idea, really, for those who don't know, on who EY are and your role within the company?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me here at Farnborough. Great to be here again. So EY is one of the world's largest consulting and professional services firm, where we work across the whole breadth of everything that our clients need to help them solve their kind of current challenges and issues. And we work across all sectors. My responsibility is I lead aerospace and defence here in the UK.
I started off that piece, the intro just there, talking about the geopolitical situation, and it just seems to be an escalation of conflicts which cause certain challenges. What are the challenges you're seeing?
First of all, demand has gone through the roof, right, given the current conflicts, and that's in two ways. Both demand for products as we supply to our allies, as well as stockpiling, because they now need to fill them up. And the challenge we have here is around the supply chains are still not recovered post-COVID. Workforce, there's a real challenge with workforce, particularly in the defence sector and engineering in particular. And then thirdly, a lot of the big production areas were mothballed or simply just kind of put on hold over the last 10, 15 years because there's not been that demand. So how you ramp that up and change that is really important. Demand,
as you say, falls in many different ways, and it seems to be you're trying to tread water, but you're also trying to progress as well. So how is that taking shape? How are you able to advise organisations, governments, etc.?
Demand is an interesting one in the sense of, you've got, as you say, you've got two elements to that. It's how do you focus on the here and now, and particularly ramping up production, and how do you invest in the long term? So on that production element, there's probably three things fundamentally, because it's all about operational excellence. And those three things are: how do you increase your workforce productivity? How do you invest in the production lines, both your existing and in new ones? And then thirdly, how do you use more of these advanced digital technologies to really drive that forward? So if you think about that second point around the investment, you'll hear the word modular an awful lot over these next few days. And a lot of the technology and aerospace and defence businesses are using this. So how do you break down complex systems and engineering challenges to their constituent parts and just work on those? So that means you can run them in parallel and be independent, and that speeds up things like upgrades as they then go onto these systems. The other one you're going to hear a lot about is digital twin. Now, digital twin has been talked about for years, we all know it, but two things have changed. One is that there's more data coming off the systems than ever before, and the ability to capture that data. The second is computing power. So take everything that's happened in the last 18 months alone with AI and computing power, that is being pointed at digital twin. That aids production schedules and efficiency, but also not just in the factory. You can also now digital twin your entire supply chain, spot challenges before they arise, and solve them.
Which is, I mean, AI learning, it's all coming back into it, and things maybe not fearing AI learning is a good thing to start with. I want to just run back to this staffing talent, should we call it, talent challenge that's being faced, because there has been a dearth of talent out there. How is the industry able to attract this talent with the background that we're looking at, with this geopolitical situation going on? Because we know that wars, we know that conflicts speed up development.
Yeah.
But if there's no talent there, or the talent pool's very, very shallow, then that's a problem.
It's a buzzword, but it's all about employee value proposition, okay? And what I mean by that is it's no longer just about the core salary or the benefits package. It's about making it individual to the person. Three things we've seen really come to life with our clients recently. One is something called employee resource groups, ERGs. And that's where you really understand what do the employees want and need. And that's giving rise to things like better wellness, diversity and inclusion, etc., that really is tailored to the individual. The second one is learning and development. Gone are the days when someone joins an organisation as an apprentice and expects to be there their entire career. So how do you give them those skills, the digital culture, machine learning, AI skills that they will need, not necessarily need now in their job, but might need in the future? And Rolls-Royce have recently released a whole new digital platform around that, as are a lot of the organisations. And the third one, as I mentioned, is around more flexible working arrangements. They're the things that organisations need to focus on. Get that right, focus on your employees, and they will come to you and stay with you.
When it comes to collaboration with things like GCAP and the rest of it moving forwards, collaboration seems to be key to it all.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing in that area when it comes down to collaboration, to investment, to working together, to seeing maybe a collective goal as opposed to an individual company goal?
Yeah, so kind of collaboration both internationally and within the supply chain, within corporates, within governments is essential. To some of the things we've talked about, lack of resource pools, R&D costs only going in one direction, lack of capacity and capability. Only by pooling can you really unlock the benefits of that. But there are some watch outs, and we're seeing this with our clients. One is around IP, being very clear of what IP you are putting into it and what you're taking, so be really clear on IP rights. The second is culture. These organizations have got long-standing cultures, so how do you bring disparate cultures together that mean you get the best of all of them? And the third is around governance. So actually, from a governance point of view, and particularly data, that's where most organizations in these collaborations are finding the biggest challenge, because they have stringent data requirements anyway within the organization. So how do you bring those together, and how do you do effective data sharing? Because it's only through sharing data that you really unlock the value of these programs.
I think, Nick, we could talk for hours on this topic. Unfortunately, we don't have hours, but thank you so much for giving us just a little look behind the curtain. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, Nick. Thank you.
Cheers.